Hi, my name is Richard Parker. I was 17 years old when I was killed. You may have heard of the R.V. Dudley and Stevens case. The event that transpired on the lifeboat were both tragic and morally complex. Here is a more detailed account of what happened on the lifeboat. In 1884, the Mignonette, an English yacht, set sail from Southampton, England, to Sydney, Australia. Suddenly, a storm damaged the yacht, causing it to sink in the South Atlantic on July 5, 1884. The crew of the Mignonette, Thomas Dudley, Edwin Stevens, Edmund Brooks, and me, Richard Parker, managed to escape onto a lifeboat. The lifeboat was only 13 feet long and initially had no provisions. The crew had very limited supplies, and they drifted at sea for several days without rescue. The crew quickly ran out of fresh water, and they resorted to drinking seawater, which only exacerbated their dehydration. With no food and limited prospects of rescue, the men faced starvation. As desperation grew, the men became weaker, and I, the youngest and weakest crew member, fell into a weakened state. After nearly 3 weeks at sea, and with little hope of rescue, 2 of the crew, Tom Dudley and Edwin Stevens, decided that in order to save their own lives, they would need to kill and eat me, who by that time had fallen seriously ill. They discussed their dire situation and concluded that their only chance of survival was to resort to cannibalism. On July 25, 1884, about 19 days after the shipwreck, Dudley and Stevens decided to kill me. I was killed, and the crew consumed my flesh and blood to stay alive. This act of cannibalism sustained the 3 surviving men until they were eventually rescued. On July 29, 1884, the crew was rescued by the German ship Montezuma in the mid-Atlantic. The crew of the Montezuma noticed the desperate condition of the Mignonette survivors and provided them with food and water. Upon their return to England, Dudley and Stevens were charged with the murder of Richard Parker. The legal case focused on whether the killing could be justified as a necessity for survival. The 3rd crew member, Edmund Brooks, was not present during the legal proceedings because he was not charged in connection with the killing of Richard Parker. Only Thomas Dudley and Edwin Stevens were charged with murder. The court ruled against Dudley and Stevens, finding them guilty of murder.